We haven't talked about foreign policy much or military policy lately, and there have been some developments in that part of our world as well. Here's one interesting story I think you guys ought to know about, reported in the New York Times this week. Thanks to a Freedom of Information Act request, the NSA has declassified a report which conducted years ago on the effectiveness of the NSA's secret spying program. And here's what they found. They found that the secrecy surrounding that program after 9/11, we're talking about warrantless surveillance and bulk data collection, the secrecy hampered its effectiveness. Many members of the intelligence community struggled later to identify any specific terrorist attack it thwarted. Now, this report was conducted in 2009 by inspectors general for 5 different intelligence and law enforcement agencies. It was withheld from the public at the time, although a short unclassified version was made public. But even the copy which the New York Times received under its Freedom of Information Act request was redacted. And although it was redacted, here's what we learned. We learned that these secret invasions of our privacy did not work. Now, we found this out in 2009, or by we, I mean these inspectors general and those allowed to read this report, but the rest of us, you and I, were not told. So to this day, we have people like John Brennan. We have people like the CIA director. We have people like the NSA director. We have people in senior levels within the administration insisting that these secret bulk data collection programs have prevented terrorist attacks. They've even been very melodramatic about saying, I can't tell you what they were, but I can tell you that they have protected us. And yet we had a report out 6 years ago which said that is in fact not the case. They have not protected us from anything. So we have abrogated our Constitution and received nothing in return. We have sold our soul and gotten nothing in the way of a decent price for it. So this program, by the way, which is known as Stellar Wind, the moral of the story is, once again, and I hate to say this, the left was right all along. Now, in other foreign policy news, of course, within the last week, we received the apology from the President of the United States, very moving apology over the deaths of 2 Westerners, an American and an Italian. And again, I've talked about this briefly, I think, once before, but I want to reiterate a couple things about this apology. While the apology was moving, these unlawful drone programs, the extrajudicial, I believe is the word, routinely result in the deaths of innocent civilians, including children. But an American and Italian were the ones that led to an apology. That will not play well in the third world, people. That will add to the negative blowback. I believe it will add to the negative blowback the drone program has had, which has led to higher numbers of terrorists. And it also adds to, I would believe, to the sense of injustice felt by third world peoples when they can be killed without apology. Now, granted, often as a result of an accident. I don't think we deliberately bomb weddings or whatever. I just don't think we're very good at this. But the accidental death of wedding revelers or children somehow doesn't warrant an apology when the death of Westerners does. I think that without taking anything away from the grieving families of these 2 gentlemen, I do not think that is the way to present ourselves in the third world. Now, these are the results of signature strikes, and signature strikes, as you probably know, are by definition strikes where we don't really know exactly who is being killed. We just know that they meet certain signatures or profiles of characteristics. So this one good thing to do right now would be to end all signature strikes. Another good thing to do right now would be to end all extrajudicial killings through the use of drones. I doubt it will happen, but it would be a very wise move. So the moral of these two stories, I think, is surprisingly symmetrical. One involves domestic spying, the other involves overseas killing, but the common thread that unites both of them is this: the national security state does not work to keep us safer. The national security state invades our privacy, extends our military reach into the third world, and in the end makes us less safe and less secure in our constitutional rights. That's not proper, that's not correct, and that needs to change. I'm Richard RJ Eskow, and this is The Zero Hour.